Welcome to a special edition of the Women CANDO Show. So, part of our mission is to bring the next generation forward. And the one way that we can do that is to bridge the gap. So, we decided to do a two-part series called Bridging the Gap. And I have my son, Rashad, here to help moderate this conversation. So let's get started.
This your boy Shad, aka Culture Chronicles. We have a special edition today, Bridging the Gap podcast. We have a special guest with us today to discuss how we can move the culture forward. To my left, we have the wonderful Mr. Malik White, Mr. Mac himself. To my right, we have the beautiful Miss Konya Kessee. So we're here today to move the podcast forward and talk, kind of get into more deeper issues about our culture, past generations, current generations, and also future generations. So I guess where I would want to start with everybody is one of the things that's on my mind is I feel that there is a disconnect between future generations, current generations, and past generations. And so I want to kind of get everybody's ideas about how we can bridge those gaps and whatever disconnects we have, how we can find those connections. So one of the things that I want to touch on is I think that let's start with our current and even future generations. I feel that we have the resources and everything that our previous generations, our ancestors did not have. Yeah. But one of the things that I would want to touch on is there is a lack of drive, a lack of urgency that is around the world. There's a narrative about that. So anybody can start, as far as what can we do to bridge that gap?
I think, like the newer generation now is, like you said, there's so many resources for them to succeed. It's very, very easy for a young kid to become big, to make money, right? You have these idea of going viral, TikTok, gaming, right? When we was coming up, it was harder, right? Things become easier. You got AI and things of that nature that's coming into play.
Yeah.
That's changing the trajectory of, the next generation and giving them more opportunities. Now, we look at it as whether or not is that hindering that generation or is it helping them? I think if you look at if it's hindering them, it's more so whether they're using it as a handicap, as something just hold them up. But the way it can help them is them using those resources and building off of those resources.
Yeah.
Right? We always say the next generation is going to be the generation that takes us into the future, and that's going to take us to a whole different level. And, we got to think about it as now, how do we help that generation take on these resources, take on these opportunities, and build it forward?
You made a good point, Malik, because especially the AI, that's like the perfect example because, and I just had a conversation with someone about this, and I said that it's almost like you said, handicapping people. Like I totally see the benefits of it, but don't let it stop you from thinking for yourself. That's the part that I don't like. Like a lot of people are allowing it to think for you instead of using it to take you to that next level. You know what I mean? So I think that's the understanding that needs to be had. Like don't, for example, don't go to Chat GTP for everything.
Right.
Yeah. That's true.
You know what I mean? You don't have to go to it for and it's to me that's where the handicapping begins when you solely depend on it. You start going to it for every little thing. Like I can see, like, for example, let's say if you have a podcast and maybe the person just booked your guest, you had a guest switch. Let's say a guest canceled. You had a guest switch, and the guest, maybe an hour before, you don't have any questions for that guest because you just right. I can see then like going to chat and say, hey, what do I ask this person of this caliber or whatever, and you kind of pick from those questions. Now, in that instance, that's what I'm saying. I could see it working in some, but even then, you just kind of take a little from it to help you kind of build the conversation. Yeah.
I think practicing delayed gratification is really important. I think it's power in the process.
Yeah.
Right? So when you speed past that, yes, you might gain money or followers, but the actual grit and understanding things is lost.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like very much of a microwave society right now.
Yeah.
It's who can get it done first.
Yeah.
Right. Like who's the first to say these things. Right. So I think delayed gratification and honing in on the process and the sweat equity.
Right.
That is what really I feel like binds a person's character.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's like cheating on a test, kind of. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like, I got the answers, but when it's time to show the work,
Right.
and break it down,
right.
we can't really do that. So I think practicing delayed gratification, understanding that
I like
there,
that.
you know, it's a beginning and an end, and the middle is where that's the meat and the potatoes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think that's something that we need to understand. It's not about being first.
Yeah.
It's not a race.
There you go.
This is not a race anymore, right?
Yeah.
It's about acquiring the tools to not only do the job well, but just become a better person.
Yeah.
Right. So
And to your point, I think that we gloss over the lack of appreciation for the journey. Take myself for example. I think growing up playing sports, more than the results, I appreciated the journey. You know, the brotherhood, the seeing the people you're with going for the same goal. We're all here for the same thing.
Right.
And so I think when you, like you said, when you microwave things, you can microwave something, and let's say later in the future you want to write about it, you want to make a memoir about it. Well, then you'll have lack of details in it. It'll just kind of be, hey, A to Z.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree to that.
That's true.
and also just want to add that when you microwave it, you don't leave anything for the next person to follow, right? Because doing it through, it's like a blueprint, right? So when you are documenting the wins and the losses, it's a blueprint for someone else to follow. It's like a map, right?
Right.
So, but if it's just instantaneous, I only know the end result, right? And that could be also disheartening for other people. It's like, if I can't do that, I can't achieve, you know what I'm saying, a certain goal. So I think it's really, really important to go through the whole journey, like you said, and be what am I trying to say? Be grateful for that whole
Definitely.
process. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also to touch on that, it kind of glosses over the quality of talent with musicianship, whatever profession you want to choose. You know, I feel like it glosses over that to where now we have these AI things and stuff, and now people don't even need to come in the studio, or people don't even need to come to certain jobs because everything is becoming so computerized. I think that we're kind of covering even more of the talent and gifts that we have in this world. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another thing I wanted to touch on was the disconnect between the resources. Basically, you know, we have the generations before us who've always wanted us and current generations and future generations to have these resources and things that we have that they worked so hard for us to have. And so now that we have them, I feel that there's a shift in the narrative that, you know, we or people younger than us don't necessarily appreciate it the way that they would. And coming from the other side, I would say that the younger generations would say, hey, we do appreciate those things, but maybe we're not going to do them the way that you guys want us to. So I want to be able to touch on that as well.
I think that's important for my generation because I'm technically the
Season.
seasoned generation at this point. And so because Malik, you're what, 20s?
27.
Rashad, you're how
32.
old?
32.
Konya, you're how old?
36.
I'm 54. Okay. So I'm the parent that they're referring to. But I agree. So I remember I struggled with that. Even with starting, before I started the ICANDO organization, the initial intent was to start a mentoring program for girls. But my frustration had always been, they don't get it. Like, why are they not getting what I'm saying? Like, why do they think like this? Like, how are you not, driven or whatever, right? So, but I had to take a step back and realize that it wasn't them. It was me and my approach and me not thinking, okay, that's how you were taught.
Yeah.
And that it's not to say that the way they were taught, the way they're doing it is wrong. They're just doing it a different way. So for my generation, we have to come to that realization, like, look, they're just doing it a different way. And I had to think back, like, I'm sure my parents did it a different way, and they probably gave me this way because they probably felt like their way, okay, this is the mistakes that we made, because that's typically how it goes. Like, this is the mistakes that we made, so I'm going to instill this in my child so they won't make those same mistakes, right? So I had to come to that realization. And then what I found, and once I took that wall down, now I just shared with someone how courageous you guys' generation and this younger generation is. Like, we weren't risk takers. Like, we were like, okay, you go to school, you graduate from high school, you go to college, and you start your career. Now, you all know we come from a family of entrepreneurs, right? Your papa, my dad, they were brothers. They were entrepreneurs. Their dad was an entrepreneur. Their entire family were our family. We come from a family of entrepreneurs.
Right.
But for me, it was like, you go to college, you start your career, you have a family, you start your career, and that's it. So I wasn't like ambitiously going after entrepreneurship. I just launched ICANDO brand in 2020. You know, I'm 54 now. So I noticed with you guys' generation, you're more ambitious than us. You're willing to take risk, and you're willing to make that mistake and still try it again. Yeah. Whereas our generation, I think we lacked that. So now, like I said, our generation, we have to take that wall down and see it for what it is and understand this is not 1989.
Yeah.
We're in 2025, like you said. The AI is here. You know, this is the AI generation. So it's like, you need to adapt. Sometimes we need to reprogram our thinking, actually, you know.
Yeah, and you know what, to your point, we do have a lot of ambition, but I would say one of the things that we have trouble in is we'll have the ambition to get to the finish line, quote unquote. But when we get to that finish line, I think we don't realize, hey, there's another finish line we can go to over there.
Yeah.
That's
so
true.
it's either, are you content, or do you want to keep exploring and seeing the maturation process and see how much you've grown and what gifts God has given you? Because I think you don't realize what gifts God has given you until you go see about it.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
That's true. That's true.
I think to bridge the gap, we have to have the core value of like respect.
Yeah.
And what gains respect is value. And I think we got to understand there's value in the elders and there's value in the younger generation.
Yep.
And you have to put the ego down for that.
Definitely.
Right? So when you only assert value to yourself, or I know everything, you know, on the younger side or the older side, you lose communication. So understanding there's value in Shell's generation as far as in the fundamentals and the grit, right? Yeah. And then there's value in us as in the creativity and the bravery, right? Yeah. So when it's like, you know, we all play sport. Well, we're a sports family as well.
Right.
And on a team, each person has a job, right? And it's just like, you know, so you're going to be the foul taker. You're going to be whatever. Sometimes people are just there for morale. They're value to each person. And once you understand that, I think you can respect each other's input a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So everybody has value, and it's just get together as a team to know who and when to, you know, call on that person.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think, you know, in my profession, being a teacher, that's where it's mostly seen for me, right? So it's a lot of what everybody was saying. It's this idea or this concept of culture of teaching versus culture of learning. Two different things. Where a culture of teaching, you know, I'm telling you everything you need to know, why you're not getting it. The culture of learning is like, I have to adjust the way I tell you. Not everybody is going to receive what you're saying the same way. Yeah. The same way I might talk to one of my other students, I can't talk to the other student like that. And so being a teacher, what that has allowed me to do was to, you know, I have to look at myself like, okay, I'm teaching this lesson. Yeah. No one's getting it. I must be the problem. So let me switch up how I teach
Right.
it because not every class, not every student is going to take it that way.
Yeah.
So it's the idea of culture of teaching versus the culture of learning. I think what we have to do as a society in order to bridge that gap is become a culture of learning.
Ooh, I love that.
We have to become a culture of learning,
And
right?
it's also it's power in pivoting, like you said, understanding this isn't working.
Yeah.
And let me try something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also, like, to your point, experience is the best teacher. So within that teaching, I feel we need to also express our experiences to whoever we're teaching to. Just like with your teaching and with me mentoring young kids and coaching, I had to learn that, okay, I can't just say, hey, don't be angry like this. Don't show these type of emotions. Don't do this, don't do that. I had to transition from that to, listen, I understand your anger. I understand your frustrations. I understand your emotions. You know why? Because I used to be you. I used to be in your shoes. I used to wear those same pants.
Yeah.
I used to be angry. I used to be over emotional or whatever the case may be. And so I feel like if we, just put our experiences with these teachings, I feel that they will be better off because then they can look at us and say, hey, they're not judging us.
Yeah.
Yes.
They've been there. So how can we judge?
Yeah.
That'll just make us hypocrites if we're just piling down on people and saying, hey, you're not doing this right, doing that right, without telling them, hey, I didn't do this right. I had to have mentors. I had to have big brothers or uncles or fathers to correct me.
Yeah.
So I think with that teaching, also experience.
And you can even take that a step further. Growing up, if somebody told us to do something, we not asking questions.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to get it done.
Yeah.
Yep.
This generation, the favorite thing to ask,
Why?
well, why? Why? And
Right.
sometimes and sometimes we don't be having the answers for the why. And this is where
Just do it.
Right, yeah.
it's like, you always like, what you mean why? This is how it's supposed to get done.
Yeah.
Right.
But this generation now, it's the why. Well,
Yeah.
why do I got to do that?
Yeah.
The mechanics of it. They want to
Yeah.
understand the
Yeah.
mechanics
Right.
of what's happening.
Yeah.
And so that's where we, as different generation, we got to dig deeper.
Yeah.
Right. Our answers can't be solely just, hey, you got to go to this event because I told you got to go to this event. And this question gonna be why. You got to have the answer for the why, the reason.
Yep.
Right.
Definitely.
And that's a lot of things this generation is looking at, just trying to get the reason. Because if you think about it, like growing up, if mom, dad said we got to go to church, all right.
Put your pants on.
Even now, I get a call. Hey, you going to church today? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm 27 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you go ask another kid, you can go like, hey, let's go to church. Well, why I gotta go to church for?
Yeah.
Right. And so it's the having the answer to the why as well. And once again, it just ties back into, once again, we got to be a culture of learning, because in order for us to answer that why, we have to understand the why
understand the
ourselves.
why.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
But you know what? That goes with that's gonna flow. And you're right. That's gonna flow into adulthood. People always say, "Know your why," and so a lot of us, I want to say my generation, a lot of us 40 something before we knew our why. I was, before we knew our why. But now with this generation, I can see the future for them at 18, knowing their why, right? And to Rashad's point about, instead of telling them don't be angry, kind of let them know you understand, you can relate to it. I've been there. And this is one thing that I learned. There is power in the words, I get it. There is power in the words, I get it. And so that's to your point. I think with my generation and the generation before me, we weren't trying to get it. It was just, we were trying to get you to do what we're telling you to do, because we know that this is right for you. Instead of thinking back to when we were younger, everybody knows me. I was a rebel. I was, my parents were strict, and I was a rebel. I was one of the rebellious kids. It was 3 of them. The other 2 will remain nameless. Okay. Keisha and Reginald. But I was one of the rebellious kids. And again, back then we couldn't ask why. But of course, because I'm rebellious, when I became a teenager,
Did it anyway, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but again, because we weren't told why or couldn't ask why, I didn't know my why until I was in my 40s. So to your point, Malik, about that why, allowing them that why, answering that why, making them understand, helping them, not making them, helping them understand is so important for their growth into adulthood. Because like I said, at 18, when they graduate from high school, they go into college, they're going to know their why.
Yeah, that's a great point. Another thing I want to touch on is I feel like we live in a society, a generation of freedom. I feel like we've never had as much freedom in any way you could think of, whether it's women, whether it's our culture, whether it's how we speak, whether it's how we can be on these type of platforms and just kind of be able to create our own narratives.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in the golden era of it, I would feel. And so what I want to touch on is, there's a lot of good about it, but there's also a lot of things that we can correct. Me personally, I feel like sometimes we have a little too much freedom. And so I feel like that the freedom that has been created, it also has kind of created a lack of respect, I would say, in certain aspects, whether it's from people that have done it for us, people who paved the way for us. And so I kind of want to touch on that a little bit. Any thoughts about how we can bridge that gap as far as not taking away the freedom, but how can we hone it in a little bit?
You know what? I'm going to tell you this, and I think so. I know with again, I said my parents were strict. So with Rashad, I was like, I'm not going to be that. I'm not going to be strict. I'm not going to be that strict. I'm going to let him go to the party with his friends. I'm going to let him go to the movies with his friends. I'm going to let him go to the mall with his friends. Yeah. And I remember someone telling me that you were trying so hard not to be your parents that you gave him so much freedom when you should have found that balance. And then also think about why your parents, you know what I mean? Like, what was that really a bad thing? Like, you turned out great. You know what I mean? Like, you turned out good even though they were. So you had to find that balance between it, between the two, and not think of them being strict as a bad thing. Because in my mind, that's how I thought of, like, oh, they were too strict. Like, my friends were going here and I couldn't go. I could only hang with my cousins, right? But it's now that I'm older, I'm glad that I can only hang with my cousins. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. So to your point, the whole freedom, I think my generation, because our parents were strict, we gave you all more freedom.
But I kind of read my mind too, because to that point, with the freedom, I also felt like our families put us in the right environments. Whereas, as much freedom as you gave me, you put me in environments where I was around. I felt like the proper freedom. Yeah. I feel like I was in environments where I knew I felt safe. Yeah. So which made you and my father more comfortable. To let me go. That's true. Yeah. And also being around, being active in my activities. So you knew the friends and the people that I had. Yeah. So I feel like to that point with the freedom, I feel like the environmental aspect is important as well.
Very important.
I think with freedom, what we lost is the standard. I think when people think of freedom, it's like a free-for-all. And I think it's important to obviously have a level of freedom, but we have to have a standard of what is acceptable and what's not acceptable. So it just is not a free, we can't just do anything. Right. I also had freedom, right? I was everywhere, right? I hop on my bike or my little motorcycle and I was gone, right? For years, right? So, but I still had a standard. I still knew what I could not do and what was too much. Right? So I think we it's up to the elders, right? I'm an elder of somebody. I'm in the middle ground. I'm not young, but I'm not quite old. But right. To create a standard of like, hey, have fun, but like in these parameters, right? We have to implement a standard of like, okay, we can't do this now, right? I think I hate when everybody
out there.
When people's like, well, who am I to say? Who am I to judge? I hate when people say that. I'm like, well, the older person. You're the man in the room or you're the woman in the room. You're supposed to say, we can't do that. Right? So I just think we need to go back to the old days of like how we represent ourselves is important.
Yeah.
Just as important as having freedom,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So
I think
I agree.
also it's the freedom with dishonesty and freedom with honesty, right? Like,
like
so if I was to go out somewhere, I had to let mom know,
Right.
hey mom,
Yeah.
I'm going out with my friends right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so therefore it's that building of trust. So I think just separating, like, a lot of now we see freedom with dishonesty. Hey mom, I'm about to go to my friends, we're gonna study. Next thing you know, you all over the club's Instagram page, right? So just being honest about that, like, this is what I'm doing, this is who I'm going to be with, and then it creates like that. It lifts that burden off somebody's shoulders. Like, okay, I can let them go.
Yeah.
I can let them do this. I can let them do. So just understanding the idea of freedom with dishonesty and freedom with honesty.
love that.
And that's mutual respect too.
Yeah.
What you're saying, you know what I mean? It's a mutual respect between generations. Like you said, well, if that young person is being honest, then we have to respect that honesty. You know what I mean? Allow them the space and the grace. You know.
Yep. And then I, with that freedom, with the honesty of freedom, and it comes with the respect, but also feel you're telling whoever your authority is, hey, you can trust me. Because if I'm lying to you, then maybe I'm not supposed to be here in the first place.
Right. Yeah.
So then you don't. I've seen situations where that dishonesty happens, and you get to a place or somewhere where you're not supposed to be, and things happen, and you don't want that to be the lasting memory of you, or even less than that. You don't want to create that distrust between your circles.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that trust is everything.
Yeah.
And once that's broken, everything else probably will crumble up under it. So I think, to your point with that, the freedom, honesty, and dishonesty, I feel like we have to do our best to stick on the honesty side. I know sometimes it's hard, especially us growing up being young, because
Right.
I feel like a lot of that falls under we don't want to disappoint our parents, or
Right.
disappoint
Yeah.
our grandparents or whoever's watching us. So I think, but I do think as we grow and we are more honest, we learn how much more understanding people are of us.
Yeah.
Just like for me, for example, like I didn't finish college. So when I decided I wasn't gonna go anymore, I was like, I'm gonna tell my parents, man. I was so nervous, but once I told my mom first, she said, look, it's okay. Everybody doesn't finish school at the same time. And so that built a level of honesty that I wanted to give, and so I feel like that's a part of it too. I feel like we gotta trust our friends, family, our parents. We have to trust them to give them that benefit of the doubt, like they're gonna understand and remember that they've been through some of these things. They made these mistakes. So, yeah.
Yeah, because when the whole college thing, when he came to me, what he didn't know was I did the same thing. I my first year, and I've shared this story before, my first year of college, I dropped out. I partied all year, didn't go to class.
Right.
And here again, because I was away from home. So I'm like, my mom and dad aren't here.
It's time.
Turn up. I'm literally wilding out, right?
Yep.
And so I dropped out. And I remember me and my cousin, we started together. And I remember 4 years later, being at her graduation, that's when it hit me. Oh my gosh, I could have been done. And so that's when the light bulb went off, and I started, going back. I started like part-time because I had Rashad at the time. And so then I started thinking like, okay, if I'm going to preach college to him, I got to be that example. But when he told me that, about he wanted, he's, just not ready at this time, he'll try it again, but just at this time, I got it because he did the same. It was me. So I got it. But to your point though, an extension of your point, my generation, we have to learn to create that safe space. And I didn't learn that until he was 19, 20, whatever. When he came with that, it's like, okay, now I got to change my approach. That was one of the examples of me seeing, okay, I need to change my approach and I need to be honest about my experience. Like, I get it because that was me. Like, it's okay. Right. It's going to be there.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. But again, for my generation, to bridge that gap, we have to be able to create that safe space and grace.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we have to meet each other. We have to meet each other at the table.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Point
Yeah.
blank.
Yeah.
Just like you said, you have to create that space for people our age. We gotta open our ears and be open to receive.
Yeah.
Whether it's constructive criticism, whether it's advice, and any type of advice. Because you can have the most profound advice, but if my ears are so closed,
You miss it.
Because we are in an era of I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Then you're not gonna receive it. You're just gonna hear words.
Yeah.
And it's not. You don't want to wait until you're older or you make a mistake or something bad happens to where
Gotta play catch up.
I'm learning.
Right,
playing catch up. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
A fixed mindset versus a growth mindset.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That's
100%.
exactly what you're hitting on. Fixed mindset. Going into the conversation, I know everything.
Yeah.
Can't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you gonna say something. All right, cool. I'm still gonna do what I want
I'm
to
gonna
do.
sit here, but I'm not.
Yeah. I'm gonna sit here because I got to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I got to. But with the growth mindset, it's like, okay, I'm listening. I'm understanding. I'm taking in. We get it. Everybody's path is different, but it's always something that's gonna be said that's gonna hit, and it's gonna change your mindset.
Yep.
But you have to be willing to allow it to change your mindset.
Yeah.
So to your point, what do you think that stems from? That the whole one ear out the other. I want to do what I want to do. I want to hear things when I want to hear them. What do you think some of those things stem from?
You can look at it
and that question's for anybody.
Yeah, you can look at a scenario. Let's say your mom comes in, dad comes in, something happens, and you tell them like, "No, mom, that's not how it's supposed to go. No, that's not how it's supposed to go." And mom is like, "Yes, it is. Yes, it is."
Mm-hmm.
I think we've seen that so much.
Yeah.
That we begin to imitate it in a sense. So somebody come to us, do the same thing.
We get
And
comfortable.
then also you look at it, it's what's made you successful. Right?
Yeah.
So for me, what made me successful, I did all 4 years. Straight, did my schooling straight through, 4 years straight through. After that, straight into the workforce. What's made me successful in my career is not gonna be the same for the next person.
Right.
But because it's made me successful, I'm thinking if everybody do it my way, they're going to be successful just like me. And what I'm not thinking about is that person might not have the same support system as me.
True.
That person might not have the same financial support as me, or they might not come from the same household that I came from, or grew up in the same family I grew up in.
True.
All these things that we ignore, they do come into play.
Yeah.
Anybody else? What do you? Well, from women's perspective, where do you feel that can stem from? Where we built that stubbornness, we built that. I'm going to hear what I want to hear when I want to hear it.
Maybe changing from a I mentality to a we. Understanding it's more about community than just what I want and what I need. So like Malik said, like understanding that other people might not have the same experiences as you do. So you have to speak to everyone and include everyone and have more of a we mentality than an I.
Yeah.
So when you take it off of just you and what you need and to be successful and understand and have the community to talk, I think that could also help, communication.
And I think it comes from a sense of entitlement.
Yeah. True.
That's what it is. It's the I thing. It is. It's a sense of entitlement. It's my world. This is me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it my way.
Main character energy.
The main character. I'm the main character in my story. This is my story, and I'm gonna do it my way. But what we forget, there is no story without all of the other characters. A story is not just the main character throughout the entire book or throughout the entire movie. Right. There's a cast.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that's what we need to, that's the mindset shift, like you said, from the I to we, is to understand that, this is, and I always talk about, my story is her story. Like with our women empowerment, we have our her story collection, because it's not just my story, it's her story. Like we again, I can be the main character in my story, but there's a supporting cast. And the supporting cast is anybody I come in contact with. The village that raised me, that impacted me, the whoever I'm impacting, they're a part of my story. So it is that mindset, shifting it from the I to we.
Yeah, good point. And to actually transitions me into my next thought. Influence. Influence, it can come from many different places, many different people, many different ways. So how can we bridge the gap as far as from generation to generation to generation with our influence? Is it depending on who it is? Is it depending on what environments we need to place people in? How can we continue to bridge the gap on being more positive influences in our culture, in our society, but also making sure that we stay true to ourselves?
One thing I think we need to do is remember that somebody is watching you. I've had people that I didn't realize were watching me come up to me and, like, wow, I see you, and, you inspire me. I'll never forget, I was 20-something years old, and I had just started the job at the company I was working for, and I had been there for maybe a year. I got on the elevator, and so one of the other employees, she was in another department. I've never had conversations with her or anything. And we got on the elevator, and she just kind of was like, you are really doing it. Like, you are a great example. I'm 20-something. Right. And I'm like, whoa. But not in I wasn't thinking like, oh, I need to set it, because I'm 20-something. I wasn't thinking, I was just being, right? But as I've gotten older, I am more cognizant of that. Like, okay, you can't be acting this way and saying another thing, but also living in my authenticity too, and being open and transparent about that. So again, I say, always remember that somebody is watching you. Somebody is depending on you to do the right thing.
I love that. And I think you, like you said, it also depends on who it is too. Yeah. I've, like I said, being in profession, so just give background information. At my school, there are only about 4 males. You have the principal, you have me, you have the dean of students, and you have one of our teachers. Matter of fact, it's 5 of us, and you have another teacher. And the rest of our staff is female staff. There's also the age, right? Yeah. And the way I present myself, I come in, I don't dress as you'll see a teacher would dress. You look at ties, dress shoes, and things like that. I'm not wearing dress shoes. I'm coming in with some Dunks, some Jordans. Yeah. I might have on some jeans. I might have a shirt that's motivational. But when kids see somebody that dressed like them, they gravitate.
Relatable.
When they see somebody that talks like them, they gravitate.
Yeah.
Right? The idea of code switching. Like, I code switch. If I'm talking to somebody older than me, I'm going to talk differently. If I'm talking to somebody younger than me, I'm going to talk in their slang, because I want them to know that I am willing to understand your world. I'm willing to understand your world to help you grow.
Love that.
Right? And so now I get to the point where, I do these motivational talks and they actually listen.
Yeah.
Right? But it takes time. You got to work towards that, though. It takes time. Like, you got to learn. You got to learn them. You got to learn their world, and then you got to step into their world, right? I've spent time in my world already. I think I've understood my world already. Now it's time for me to step out of my world with the experience that I've seen, went through, and step into somebody else's world, learn their world, and then help them master their world.
Yep.
Meet them where they are.
Yeah.
Meet them where they are.
Yep. And I also feel like, to your point, we got to step into their world, because as much as things change, things stay the same as well.
Yeah.
So it goes back to the whole experience thing. So we can step in their world, but and still bring the same tool bag we grew up with, bring it with us, put it down. Hey, look, we got similar things in these tool bags. So I can wear these shoes like you. I can wear these shirts just like you. And guess what? Not just to fit in, but to relate. You know, and so I think that's a big thing. And that transitions into my next point about self-esteem and lack of self-esteem. I believe our influence builds confidence. So I want to kind of speak on the culture of self-esteem and the lack of self-esteem. Like, you know, me working with kids and mentoring kids, I see both sides of it. So one of my strategies is I like to pick a kid that has the ultimate confidence in the world and partner them with a kid who doesn't just it's not that they don't have it, they just realize that they don't have it. And so sometimes it takes more than just us to bring that out of them. So to that point, what do you guys think of that?
I like that idea. I like that strategy of taking this kid who is highly confident and pairing them with a kid that may lack, some confidence. And and Rashad has done this since he was a kid. And I don't know if I remember when he was in school, he would kind of gravitate to the underdog. So he was the captain of the basketball team. So he's considered the cool kid, right?
Yeah.
But he always had this heart for the kids sitting over there by themselves. And he would get in the car, Mom, this he was by himself, so I went and asked him what was wrong. I remember a kid was struggling with something and I guess talked about committing suicide. I don't know if you remember, the kid was going to jump from the building or something.
Yeah, I was in high school.
He was in high school. He called me in a panic, like, I have to help him, and it's not fair. The other kids are picked. So he was that kid that he's talking about. So for him, that it's really not a strategy, it's who he is. He's always done that since he was a kid. And I think, and that's good. I love that about him, that he had that heart for what the so-called underdog, right? But I like that because that it takes more than us adults, building this kid up. There's other pieces to it, and the piece is bringing that other kid in to empower this kid. Yeah.
And we got to stand up for each other.
Yeah.
To your point, we got to stand up for each other. The example you just provided is just, I've never liked bullies. I never liked people who pick on others, and because everybody got a story.
Yeah.
So I've never subscribed to that. Even if I felt like I was doing it, I'll go home and feel bad. And that next day I would try to correct that mistake.
Yeah.
So I felt that to the self-esteem or lack of, it points directly to that. It's that peer pressure. It's that that narrative that you have to be cool in order to fit in here. It's like, no, like I know some people who weren't considered the cool kids who I felt that were cooler than the cool kids, and so, to that point, I just feel like it takes a village. It takes a village, but also I feel like we have to also be leaders, and we also have to speak up when nobody else is speaking up. So if a kid is being picked on or somebody's being maligned in some type of way, even if it's just your voice to say, hey, we're not doing that. And if you have the cachet and if you have the leadership and you got the room to say these things, then speak up and say, hey, we're not doing this. Because to your point, I make that point, whether it was to teammates, whether it's to people at the school. I said, look, we're not doing this. Because what purpose is this serving us anyway? Putting this person down or making fun of this person's issues or anything when we don't even probably know half of the story. Yeah. That's honestly the first thing I think when I hear or see about individuals, wanting to take their lives or feeling a certain way. My first thing is like, well, what's going on? Like, what? Because some of the things that they've been through are probably not under their control. It could be an environmental thing. It could be anything. So I just think we can contribute to the building of self-esteem and the building of confidence, especially for our kids and people younger than us. Even with my own son, I'm hard on him, but I tell him why I'm hard on him.
Yeah.
I'm not just bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, because you can do it like this because you can do it like this. You can do it better. You can, and then once he realizes the results, he's like, yo, Dad did it. Wow, that feels amazing. Yeah. And so I feel like that should be our goal.
Yeah.
And even putting things into perspective, like the reality of it, when COVID hit, the social aspect of everything changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, we see more lack of self-esteem.
Yeah.
Right. Before COVID, I might have been the most trashiest basketball player you've ever seen, but I'm gonna step out on the court like I got it like that.
Yeah.
Right. No matter if I know I'm trash, but I'm gonna step on the court like I got it like that. But after that, it's just everything just COVID hit, social aspects changed.
Yeah.
Social media became a thing, online comments and things like that. People hiding behind screens, saying whatever they want to say about certain people's appearances, how they act, how they move, and stuff like that. And so that played a big part. And so now we're in the aftermath of that, where we're trying to correct that.
Yeah.
Right. We're trying to help the next generation, these kids understand it's there. The confidence is there.
Right.
Like you have the ability to be confident. Like you might be different, but you're still on the same level as everybody else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. You just get into it a different way.
Yep.
Right.
I feel like we can all get to a similar result. You know, we both want to be, hypothetically, we both want to be millionaires, billionaires. You may go take the left.
Yeah.
I may take the right, but guess what? We're gonna eventually curve and boom, we're gonna be back up.
Back up at the same thing.
At the same time, and I feel like it's enough room in the world for us to do that where we don't have to step on each other's toes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be competition. It's gonna be people you're gonna have to compete with and try to show others like, hey, I can do this better than them.
Yeah.
But I still feel like we don't gotta take away each other's shine
Yeah.
in order for us to shine.
Yep.
Yeah. Life is like a math problem.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to solve
Right.
one problem.
Right.
Yeah.
So many ways to solve one problem. Like back in the day, you only did it this way. Now you got like about 15 ways to solve
Yeah.
one plus
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
Right.
Like you got 15 ways to solve a problem, but that's life. Life is a math problem. There's so many ways to solve a problem, but therefore you still get the same exact answer.
Yeah.
When I think about self-esteem, I think about my son. That's the first thing I think about is because I'm cultivating that within him. And it kind of goes back to what Shell said is you never know who's watching you.
Yeah.
So building that in him is actually building it in me because I have to be brave and act like I don't care so he could copy that.
Yeah.
So I just feel like self-esteem is something that's passed down. It's intentional,
It's
right? So I be dramatic on purpose. I'm outspoken on purpose in front of him, right? Moments where it's time for me to speak up, I do it on purpose. When I could kind of let it slide, but I do it in front of him so he can see, oh, this is how you're supposed to behave. Like you said, never, someone's always watching you, and it has to be an intentional process to build that within the younger generation, and we have to start at home, right? Because like we want to heal everybody in the world, but I think it starts at home, then that goes to like your community, then it goes to your friends, and then before you know it, you have your podcast and your whole, thing that's going on. So I think just being intentional and challenging ourselves to be, because we're gonna copy, right? You are who you are because of, without you realizing it or not, is your mother.
My mother,
and Malik, and you were doing what your
Yeah.
mother's doing. So that's something that's passed down, right?
Yeah.
So we gotta be like the light that we want to see. So if we want to self-esteem, like a higher self-esteem society, we have to walk around like we got it,
There
right?
you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And that, to your point, that transitions me into the sacrifice aspect of it all. I feel like like you said, with cultivating certain things, whether it's with your children or your family, I feel like it does come with a level of sacrifice. Even in your work professions, your career paths, I think that sacrifice is one of the most key things. I can remember the late great Kobe. He had a quote, and he said, in order for everybody to see the product that he puts out there on the court, and for what we loved and seen from him, he had to sacrifice being a good parent, a good son, a good friend, a good father, a good teammate sometimes. And so that always resonated with me because I feel like it's almost impossible for you to make sacrifices without those things happening. I feel like you're not going to please everybody because you have to do this. You have to do this. So if you got two people that need something from you, but this needs more of the attention for the greater good, you're going to have to do that. And you may have to sacrifice this person feeling the way towards you.
Yeah.
But you have to give them that trust and that leeway that, hey, listen, this is going to work out for the best. So I just kind of want to, touch on the sacrifice aspect, because none of the great results come without sacrifice. So
I think one of the ways to go about it is the communication aspect. Like we go back to what we was talking about, how the question is always why.
Yeah.
Right? It might be, why can't mom and dad pick me up today? Well, mom and dad is at work, making sure that you're able to go to that school.
True.
But it has to be communicated,
Mm.
right? People expect everybody to know the sacrifices, right?
Yep.
I'm doing this, but sometimes it just takes that conversation. Like, let me sit you down. This is why we can't do this. This is why we can't do that. And on the other end, we got to start sacrificing our selfish endeavors.
Yeah.
Right. It might be, I want to go to Cabo, but my kid got this event coming up. But what's going to take priority?
Right.
You have some people that's going to be like, man, I'm going to Cabo.
Yeah.
Right. But you got to sacrifice that, right? When
Yeah.
you put yourself in a position to influence, to impact, to motivate, like you got to remove yourself from it, because now your main focus, your main purpose, right? We get that word purpose, is to impact the next generation, and that takes most of the time. It's like sacrificing the time, putting aside time for that as well.
Yep. And I also, just real quick, I think sacrifice, you have to also realize things are bigger than you.
Yeah.
And what are you sacrificing for? Yep. You can sacrifice, but if you're sacrificing just like for yourself, I feel like it defeats the purpose. Yeah, it defeats the purpose, and you're not obtaining the true value of what you're sacrificing. So you could be sacrificing, and instead of seeing a blossom, of bouquet of roses, you just see one flower rise. Or instead of you make that full sacrifice, you see everything coming to fruition. You see everything blossom, because it's not just affecting you; it affects everything that's under you, that's around you. So if you're sacrificing and those things are coming to true benefit, guess what? Your kids are benefiting, parents are benefiting. Your community, you can help everybody around you. So I feel like sacrifice is so important.
Like they say, everybody eating.
Yeah,
Everybody
eating.
Yep.
Love that.
So so what do you think about sacrifice, or what level, do you think that sacrifice should be? I'm going to do whatever it takes, or is it I'm going to? Well, you guys give me your opinions on this on this sacrifice.
I don't think it's I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I think that's really, we say that.
Yeah, we do.
It's just like saying, like our tagline at I can do all things. People say I can do all things. It's like, no, our tagline is I can do all things, purpose for me. If it's not meant for me to do it, I can't do it, because it's not purpose for me to do it, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm saying that to your point, how people say doing whatever it takes. I think it's doing what is necessary. I guess that would be a better way to look at it.
I agree.
Because when you say I'm going to do whatever it takes, that means you're just going to do anything. Yeah. Whether it hurts you or hurts somebody else. You know what I mean? When people say I'm going to go all in, no, I'm going to go in as far as I'm supposed to go.
Yep.
Love that.
Yeah. No, yeah. And that just made me think right now to your point about sacrifice and, like you said, doing everything it takes, that can fall under anything.
It can fall under anything.
So sacrificing and doing all it takes means you can sacrifice your morals.
Yeah.
You can sacrifice.
That's my point.
Whether it's physically, mentally, putting yourself out there the wrong way, doing things you wouldn't do normally. And so I feel like the sacrifice also comes with keeping your morals intact, keeping your respect intact, keeping your legacy, your family legacy intact. You come from a family that's well respected and that did things the right way, did it the gritty way, grinding, not asking for this, not looking for this, and then you come and you're like, I'm willing to to do whatever, go under whatever table there needs to go under to
Right.
get this done,
Right.
then I'm going to do it. I think it kind of, salts the legacy that has been built
Right.
before you,
And-
which goes
and-
back to that generational gap.
Right. I'll sum it up as sacrifice without compromising.
There we go.
There you go.
Sacrifice without compromising.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yep, beautiful point. Okay, y'all, we're going to move the conversation forward.